Senator Paul, with all due respect, you are entirely and completely incorrect that the NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute
Do they fund
of
Dr.
Virology.
Barrick?
We do not fund
Do you fund Dr. Barrick's gain-of-function research?
A bombshell just dropped. The government itself, the White House, has just published the true origins of COVID-19. Whitehouse.gov/lab leak true origins. In fact, I think they have it like covid.gov or something like this, where they lay out the true origins of the COVID-19 virus. My friends, isn't it crazy? COVID was not last month. It was 5 years ago. 5 years. Children's lives were stunted. Businesses were destroyed. The largest transfer of wealth from the working class to the wealthy in history. And Dr. Fauci lied about everything. We've got this report from the White House. Let's break down the White House report on the true origins. This is a .gov, which is really, really crazy. I got to add. It says, the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly in public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. 1. The virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Here's where it gets crazy. What we knew about this, emails had been sent between prominent officials outright saying this had to have been gain-of-function research. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's when scientists try to gain functions of a virus. So you take a seemingly innocuous virus, they infect a bunch of bats. Then, if one bat starts developing lesions, they take that one bat, put it in with a bunch of healthy bats to spread that particular strain. So when they see a new emergent result from the virus, they keep selectively breeding the virus to gain functions of the virus. It's how they make bioweapons. They go on to say, data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene altering, and organism supercharging at inadequate biosafety levels. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market. By nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't. Take a look at this. Now, a lot of people miss this. They don't understand. The Wuhan wet market is not just across the street. Now, that's my fault, too, because we all largely believe that. The Huanan seafood market is 7.5 miles away from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, where we know they were doing coronavirus research with bats. So it is very, very close, but it is not across the street. They say, proximal origin publication, quote, the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated in nature. Guys, they're going after Fauci heavy on this one. I think they may be going for a prosecution. I just got to pause right there. They keep bringing up Fauci on this. Take a look at this. New York Post. Fauci accused of lying to Congress using private email with Beaglegate journalist. Newsweek. Fauci was untruthful to Congress about Wuhan lab research, new documents appear to show. If this dude lied to Congress, and maybe on more than one occasion, he's in serious trouble. But it could get worse than that. Take a look at this. Gain-of-function research. Quote, a lab-related incident involving gain-of-function research is most likely the origin of COVID-19. Current government mechanisms for overseeing this dangerous gain-of-function research are incomplete, severely convoluted, and lack global applicability. EcoHealth Alliance, they go on to say, EcoHealth, under the leadership of Peter Daszak, used U.S. taxpayer dollars to facilitate dangerous gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China. After the select subcommittee released evidence of EcoHealth violating the terms of its National Institutes of Health grant, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services commenced official debarment proceedings and suspended all funding to EcoHealth Alliance. New evidence also shows that the Department of Justice has opened an investigation into EcoHealth's pandemic-era activities. NIH failures. They say the NIH procedures for funding and overseeing potentially dangerous research are deficient, unreliable, and pose a serious threat to both public health and national security. Further, NIH fostered an environment that promoted evading federal record-keeping laws, as seen through the actions of Dr. David Morans and FOIA lady Marge Moore. Yo, they're going after Fauci, dude. I think they want to put Fauci in prison. They're now showing the pardon of Dr. Fauci. Look at this. Look at this. Executive grant of clemency. Joseph R. Biden Jr. for Dr. Anthony S. Fauci. And it says a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States which he may have committed or taken part in from January 1st, 2014. They say the Biden admin, HHS, engaged in a multi-year campaign of delay, confusion, and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the Select Subcommittee's investigation and hide evidence that could incriminate or embarrass senior public health officials. It appears that HHS even intentionally under-resourced its component that responds to legislative oversight requests. EcoHealth President Peter Daszak obstructed the Select Subcommittee's investigation by providing publicly available information, instructing his staff to reduce the scope and pace of productions and doctoring documents before releasing them to the public. Further, Dr. Daszak provided false statements to Congress. Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, Dr. David Morans, deliberately obstructed the Select Subcommittee's investigation, likely lied to Congress on multiple occasions, unlawfully deleted federal COVID-19 records, and shared non-public information about NIH grant processes with EcoHealth President Dr. Peter Daszak. Take a look at this. New York's executive chamber, led by Governor Kathy Hochul, redacted documents, offered numerous illegitimate privilege claims, and withheld thousands of documents without an apparent legal basis to obstruct the Select Subcommittee's investigation into former Governor Cuomo's pandemic-era failures. I'm going to say it again. They're going to lock up Fauci. I mean, it may be a pipe dream, but I'm feeling it. You feeling it? It feels like that's what they're doing with this. Tell your friends. I'm excited. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Dude, I am so excited. Come on. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. Come on, RFK Jr. You're making me very happy here. Follow through. They're going to mention the World Health's response to COVID-19 pandemic was an abject failure because it caved to pressure from the Communist Party and placed China's political interests ahead of international duties. They say the World Health Organization's newest effort to solve the problems exacerbated the pandemic with the pandemic treaty. The 6 feet apart social distancing recommendation was arbitrary, not based on science. Fauci testified the guidance just sort of appeared. There was no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protected Americans from COVID-19. Public health officials flip-flopped on the efficacy of masks without providing American scientific data, causing massive uptick in public distrust. Prolonged lockdowns cause immeasurable harm not only to the economy, but also the mental and physical health of Americans, with a particularly negative effect on younger Americans. Rather than prioritizing the protection of most vulnerable, federal and state government policies forced millions of Americans to forego crucial elements. New York. Former New York Governor Cuomo's March 25th order, which forced nursing homes to accept COVID-19 positive patients, was medical malpractice. Evidence shows that Mr. Cuomo and his administration worked to cover up the tragic aftermath of their policy decisions in an apparent effort to shield themselves from accountability. This is crazy. Yo, this is crazy. They've got the full report right here. This is crazy. They may be going after Cuomo too, and Daszak. COVID-19 misinformation. Public health officials often mislead the American people through conflicting messaging, knee-jerk reactions, and a lack of transparency. Most egregiously, the federal government demonized alternative treatments and disfavored narratives, such as the lab leak theory, in a shameful effort to coerce and control the American people's health decisions. When those efforts failed, the Biden admin resorted to outright censorship, coercing and colluding with the world's largest social media companies to censor all COVID-19 related dissent. This is huge. This is absolutely huge, my friends. There's Donald Trump on the front page of this. This is a bomb drop. On a Friday, I'm not so happy about. Friday is where the news goes to die, but maybe that's the point. They want to send out feelers. They want to see the reaction. Yo, they outright show the pardon of Dr. Fauci. I'm telling you, my friends, this looks like they're gearing up to arrest and indict Dr. Fauci. Smash that like button. Every like on this video is one more year that he will get. Figuratively, I know it's art, right? Let's go, baby. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Share this with everyone you know. It debunks all the lies. Share it. Thanks for hanging out. We got more segments coming, and we'll see you all in a little bit.